Hey there, be honest. How many tabs do you have open right now? If you're anything like I was when I had tiny babies, I spent a lot of time on my phone scrolling for research, looking for what was the best sleep schedule or the right baby gear, or trying to figure out what everybody really meant when they said self-soothing. Never mind that every time you're on your phone, you have to listen to all that stuff that's happening out there right now, which does not help the stress level. You want the best for your baby, and that is admirable. But the pressure to get it right can be too much. And I get it, I have been there. So today, I want to help you break free from the cycle of over-researching and second-guessing all of your decisions. Because, yeah, parenting a baby is hard, but it doesn't have to feel this stressful. You can trust yourself and the decisions that you're making and actually enjoy this newborn stage with your baby. So let's talk about how to make this happen. But first, let's talk about why so many of us fall into the research trap. It truly starts with love. You love your baby so much. You want the best for them. And maybe if you've never raised a baby before, that means you need to do a little research to figure out what are all the options, what are the things that are working for other people, and what is the best choice that you can make for your baby right now. But because we have access to so much information, books, forums, social media, well-meaning friends and family, and a couple of strangers as well, the amount of information that comes in is truly endless. And that might mean that you start feeling stuck because maybe you need more information to make a decision, and it never ends. I talk to parents sometimes who spend a lot of time researching what the best bottle is for their baby, even though they're breastfeeding all the time and they want to, and their baby doesn't even like bottles. But it feels like every decision that you make could have this huge impact, and so you want to get it right. But here's what I want you to know before the end of this video. There is no single one right way to parent. Truly, what matters most is that you find something that works for you and your baby, because this is when your confidence will start to grow and you can find sort of the calm and the peaceful confidence that you want to feel when you're looking after your baby. So let's work on that. So today I want to share with you 3 strategies that can help you overcome this anxiety, this need to get it right, and learn to trust your intuition instead. And the first strategy I want to share with you is to put boundaries around your research time. And I'm not saying that I think researching is bad. I'm an Enneagram 5, which is the investigator. So I too love reading and researching. And I believe it's wise to gather the information that you need before you make an important decision. But there is a fine line between feeling really informed and becoming overwhelmed. So here's how I want you to keep things under control. Firstly, pick 2 or 3 trusted sources and put everything else aside. I know it's a lot to ask, but limit yourself to maybe 1 book, 1 professional, and 1 friend, and let that be enough. Maybe you choose 1 person that you like on social media whose content really speaks to you, plus a postpartum doula, hi, it's me, and your pediatrician, and let that be enough. Secondly, I challenge you to set a time limit. No matter what thing you're going to research, give yourself, say, 30 minutes to read up on it and then stop. I promise you don't need to know everything about this topic in order to make a smart, a thoughtful, or a right decision. You already know which way you're leaning. You already have an idea of which way you're going to go with this information. So do your research and then trust yourself that you can make the right decision. And if the decision turns out to not be the right one, it's okay to change your mind and try something else. Don't let yourself get stuck in the research loop. So the next time you find yourself with the urge to read up on this thing just a little more, pause and ask yourself, do I really need to read up more? Or do I have enough information in order to move forward? Because 9 times out of 10, you know what you want to do. And this isn't about cutting corners, it's about learning to trust yourself. You can make this decision without getting permission from the internet. And as an added bonus, you'll be able to put your phone away and enjoy the presence of your sweet baby. All right, my second strategy for getting out of this anxiety trap is to embrace good enough parenting. And I don't mean that you need to lower your standards, because here's the thing, babies don't need perfection. They don't need the data. They don't care if you've read all of the books or if you've got the best baby gear. What they need is your love, your attention, your presence. And when you're thinking about the milestones that you're checking off on their list, or spending a lot of time browsing for, like, what is the best version of this baby gear that I need, you're kind of missing out. Striving for a standard instead of striving for connection with your baby. So I challenge you, put away the milestones checklist. Let your baby grow at their own pace and celebrate the journey that you and your baby are on together. And as for baby gear, keep it simple. You can lay a blanket on a yoga mat and call it the baby's play center. That's what we did for years. Instead of stressing about getting things right or perfect, pay attention to your baby and see, what is it that makes them light up? What makes them giggle? How do they react? And let those moments guide the decisions that you're making. The connection that you have with your baby is everything. And striving for perfection, striving for the best way to parent can really get in the way of that. Okay, next up. This might be the hardest one of all, but I'm going to say it. You need to prioritize yourself. I know it feels really impossible when you've got a tiny newborn. They need so much of your time and energy. But hear me out. You and your baby are one unit. And when you look after yourself, that's like looking after your baby. Your well-being is crucial to their well-being. And you can't pour from an empty cup, etc., etc. And so make sure you're taking the time to stay hydrated and to eat well. Make time for the things that you want to do for you. And of course, I hope you're enlisting the help of other people to look after your baby so that you can find some time to look after yourself. And of course, I challenge you to set boundaries with love. Whether that means you're saying, no, not today to visitors, or like asking your partner to take over for an hour. Give yourself permission to prioritize what you need. And with enough practice, this kind of self-care can become the new way of loving yourself, which you will then pass on to your baby. And isn't that what you want for them as well? Because of course you want to shower them with love, and you want to teach them that it's okay for them to want what they want and that they deserve good things in life. And plus, when you feel more calm and grounded, then you bring that into your parenting work. And that is so important. Okay, so before I wrap up, I do want to share Ayesha's story because I think it's so relatable. When we first connected, her baby was about not quite 5 months old, and Ayesha felt like she was in a real transition point. Her baby wasn't a newborn anymore, but he wasn't quite a big baby yet. So he used to spend a lot of happy, sociable time in the baby bouncer. He kind of slept whenever he fell asleep. He nursed on demand. But Ayesha could see that things were changing. He needed a new way to play. He was becoming really sociable with everyone else in the house. So Ayesha came to me to ask about, how do I introduce playtime for my baby? Is it time to introduce a sleep schedule? And the big one, how do we start solids? Because her pediatrician had brought this up at her last visit. And on top of all of that, Ayesha and her husband were living with his parents, so it was a big extended family household, which is so great, but it comes with a lot of unforeseen friction, right? Everyone has some advice. There are lots of different expectations about what's normal or what you should be doing with your baby at this stage or the next. And so while everyone's advice was coming from a good place, it left Ayesha feeling pretty overwhelmed and uncertain about what to do next. So when we started working together, we focused on simplifying first. We focused on her instincts and intuition, which were already guiding her in a better direction than she even realized. We broke all of the decisions into manageable, smaller pieces. So instead of thinking about what kind of toys should I buy for the baby, we looked at what kind of household items she already had available that he might like to explore. And when it came to starting solids, after looking at all the research and the options that were out there, we talked about how to incorporate the baby's feeding times into what was already happening at her family's mealtime. And instead of adding extra work for the baby's food, how to simply include the baby in those meal times. And by the end of our time together, Ayesha felt really confident. And not because I gave her all the answers to the questions that she was looking for, or even because she had researched enough that now she had all the answers, but it was because she learned that she could trust her instincts. And now she felt like she could figure out a solution from the information that she already had to make a decision that felt right for her and her family. And that's what I want for you too. And so these are the 3 strategies that I want you to focus on as well. And so if this feels relatable to you, that you feel sort of anxious about the need to get it all right, I want you to remember these 3 strategies. Put limits around your research, try to embrace good enough parenting, and prioritize your self-care. And if you ever feel like you need extra support with this, I am here. Whether it's like ongoing one-on-one support or just a quick chat. I'd love to make this season less about like the constant scrolling for information and more about how you can trust yourself and really enjoy this newborn stage. All right, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you know someone who would love this video, please share it with them. See you next time.